Are we ready?
Gotta get up, move your body and press play. Gotta get up, run, hurry, and hit his tape. Gotta get up, a new story is headed your way. Gotta this is up. Conversations with Jay.
I think a lot of the discourse around travel is kind of around like this word of like a tourist or like tourist experiences or
Mhm.
like what does it mean to be a tourist, and being a tourist is not a good thing. Um, and I think by nature it's impossible for us not to be tourists because we're
Yes,
literally going
we're
somewhere that we
tourists. Yeah,
don't know. Like
we're not
we're
locals.
tourists.
We have to be one or the other. I
Well,
think.
yeah, it's like okay, I don't live in Paris, so like what else am I?
Yeah, I'm obviously American. I'm obviously not from
Really?
here.
I
Yeah,
couldn't tell.
I know some people don't understand where I'm from, but
Yeah, where are you
I
from?
don't know.
Do you know where you're really from?
Where am I really from? Let's talk about that now. But I mean, I can't hide that. I think anyone could pick that up as soon as I open my mouth. But then I think I don't know, you can like kind of point out a tourist, even in America. And I don't mean tourists like from another country necessarily, but if I'm in DC, like I'm not technically a local, but I could definitely see when someone's like a tourist. But it's like, I don't judge them necessarily for that. I think it's so great that they're getting an experience and like traveling to a new place. And yeah, they're gonna do the touristy things like see the Washington Monument. Like I love seeing that, and it's a popular experience for a reason. And there's a bunch of locals who haven't been to some of these places, so I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to be a tourist. Okay.
I I think I would absolutely agree. Because I think it's again it's impossible for us not to be, especially when we're traveling to different
Yeah.
places, to not feel like the place that we're in is novel and also to not exactly fit into where we are because we are unfamiliar and we don't know. I think it's important to be respectful and acknowledge wherever you are if customs
Mhm.
and practices are different. But I think fundamentally, like, there's nothing wrong with going to go see the new monument, or
Yeah.
not new, but like the monument that's there, the
Yeah.
museum that's there, or whatever it is that's there. Because if I think the experience is made by you and your person. The environment, of course, plays a factor in that, but it's the experiences that you seek out and how you interpret them and learn from them. I think is the important piece of travel, at least in my perspective or my experience. So,
I agree.
yes, my ass was walking around the fucking Washington Monument, but I got something from that, or I feel like I learned something, or even not just that example, but other examples. So I think it's
Mhm.
more of a, what you take away from it. That is the important piece that means that you're doing what travel is supposed to do, and I think learn,
Yeah,
grow, and then open your horizons.
for sure. I agree. I mean, I've been in DC for almost 2 years. If I see the Washington Monument, I'm taking a picture of it. And I expect everyone to, honestly. It's amazing. If I see the Eiffel Tower, like I try and act like on the second day of being in Paris that it doesn't surprise me. It's huge. It's beautiful. Like I don't know.
I
I'm gonna go to the Louvre just to go one time. I don't need to see the Mona Lisa necessarily, but
so you support colonizers?
anyway. How is the Louvre? Well, I mean, yeah.
How do you want to go into it?
No, not really.
Okay.
Anyway, they're stealing artifacts from us here. Like in London, we went to a museum and I'm like, none of this is yours at all. But anyway, yeah, that's another topic for another
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. Um.
Lovely.
Yeah. So we don't support colonizers, but have I been to the Louvre? Yes.
It's funny because we want to go to Europe so much, but are we not inherently supporting colonizers?
Yeah. It's ooh, colonizers.
Boo. Yeah.
Um. Wow. That just kind of took a drift,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I think again, like the important thing is the learning aspect.
Mhm.
And I'm curious what you felt like you've maybe learned about a place, yourself, and then maybe the people who are in that place when you have traveled in the past before.
Ooh. I try and be really observant traveling anywhere. Like even if I'm in New York, you can definitely tell the atmosphere is different. The way people are interacting with each other is different. Like I'm from the South, Southern hospitality is such a big thing, whether it's being fake or not. And people are gonna say good morning, they're gonna acknowledge you. And other places they're not gonna do that. So it's something I'm like observing. Um, but then even like being in New York, like it's such a go 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 mentality. It's like it makes you kind of think about yourself and how you think about work and things like that. Or if we go to Paris, for example, like people take an hour lunch break or more drinking wine and not feel the need to like rush back to the office and do something or immediately respond to like a Slack message. So I don't know. I just like seeing how other people want to interact with themselves with each other or how they view work specifically has been really interesting. So
Okay, I think that is a interesting or a good take, at least in terms of your learning when you
yeah.
travel somewhere else, because as Americans, work is such a large part of our
Yes.
lives, not necessarily by choice, but just how the work culture is here.
Mhm.
So looking at and acknowledging, okay, if I'm in France, people are taking an hour, hour and a half, 2 hour lunch break, or if I'm in Spain, people are like shutting down for like
Yeah.
lunch, or like if I'm somewhere else, maybe people are only working 5 hours
Yeah.
a day or 6 hours a day, and it's not.
Great. I
Elijah's
hate
giving us a boo,
capitalism.
capitalism.
Yeah.
We support that.
I play into it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, as Americans, like, unfortunately, we don't have a choice but to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I agree. I think it is so. It's nice and comforting to see people work differently than the way that we do.
Yeah.
But also interesting because I'm like, well, if they do it, then could we do this too? Maybe. Um,
Could we? Yeah. Will we? No.
exactly.
I mean, if we live somewhere else, probably. But I would love it to have a 4 day work week, or I'm not trying to be. And you're so rewarded. And this again, it's going on a little tangent, but like you're so rewarded to be working more than 40 hours a week. That's not sustainable. Like they're really like we're living to work, rather than just working just to support the fun things we want to do. So I like seeing other people in other countries and how they view work. Um, and honestly, that's where they are winning, and Americans kind of doing it wrong, in my opinion. I think.
I'm in full agreement here,
Yeah.
and
Do we want to work at all? Not really.
not really.
It's
Sorry, we just went off on a slight tangent
the
there.
wine.
It's
It's not.
it's not like I'm so serious when I say that this is grape juice. This is like I feel nothing. Um, but I'm not gonna repeat that. Just just for job security purposes, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I
repeat
love my
that.
job actually. I'm not a representative of the company, but I
Not at
love
all.
working.
Exactly.
Maximize profit.
Brand, I'm just so happy we're able to hop on this call. It's been such a long time since we've had a one-on-one, and it's so difficult to get you on a schedule.
I love to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
I'm actually so happy we had a time to
Hmm.
pull up and like discuss and like synergize and like,
Yeah.
really, talk about how we can improve and
Push the
maximize
needle,
solutions
push the
for
needle
sure. Move the
further,
needle just a little bit.
just a little bit,
Yeah.
and really emphasize on those core values of
We really love corporate Aaron, if you know.
um, yeah, and I'm just so glad we were able to do this in person because I can't oversee you if I can't see you. And
don't
I was a
even
little bit, I was a little bit worried that if you weren't here, that I couldn't oversee what you were doing.
Yeah. I have no response to that. You don't need to see me.
Okay, so back to the actual conversation. Learning when you're traveling, which is the most important thing, and learning can look like so many different things, and I think some people don't realize that um, it's not just one thing. Like, yes, of course you can learn when you go to a museum, or yes, you can learn, of course, when you go on a tour for something, but you can also learn by just looking around you. Like, I feel like I gather so much when I'm in a new city, domestic or international, and I'm looking around. The architecture is so different.
Yes.
Like, urban design is
Yes.
so different.
No parking lots.
No parking lots, public transportation,
Yes.
buses, and not just that, but it's like who's taking it, who's on the bus,
Yeah.
who's
Everybody.
in the everybody,
Everybody.
who's
Yeah.
taking lunch, like who's eating what, where are people shopping at,
Yeah.
like what do the buildings look like, how are like is there AC or not? 9 times out of 10, it's no.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that you can gather by just sitting down and looking around, going into a park and seeing how people are interacting.
Yeah.
Are people eating? And like, I feel like it's such an experience to just do these what may be considered small, mundane things, but actually, I at least have been impactful in my experience as I traveled, and it's something that I take with me back home. I'm like,
For sure.
I enjoy certain aspects of different places that I've been, and I'm like, okay, like let me bring that home. maybe I like drinking tea in the mornings, or I like to drink tea at night, or I like to have a glass of wine with my dinner. It's like these different things that I pick up that I like to take with me. I like to fucking walk. If I can walk somewhere, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Period. If I could take a metro somewhere, I'm gonna do
Oh
it.
yeah.
I don't want to have to drive.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to Uber. I don't want to drive. I
It's
don't want to own a
crazy.
car. Put me in a city where I can walk.
Yeah.
Please.
To the
I'm
grocery
begging you.
store. Yeah.
I want to walk to the grocery store. I want to walk to the movies. I want to
Yes.
walk to a bar. I want to walk to my job. Like, I want to walk.
Yeah.
Period. Is it because I want to strut to good music? Possibly.
Yes.
But it's also for walkability and my exercise and
Yes.
just like how I feel. I feel so much better
Yes.
when I can just walk
I
everywhere.
hate sitting in traffic. And I do it 3 times a week.
3 times a
I
week.
guess 6 times a week.
6 times
There
a
and
week.
back.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think learning from other cultures is so important. Learning how other people are interacting and, living life is important. We are observing it from like an outsider's perspective. Like I could think, oh, they really just like free and don't have to work. And then like if I talk to someone, they may have a totally different perspective. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's good to like learn, immerse, learn, like see what everyone else is doing, and also take that back. Even just being a tourist in general, like going to these cool places that the locals may not be experiencing makes me go back home, and I'm like, huh, I've lived near Atlanta all this time, and I've never been to the aquarium, but tourists go. But like, why wouldn't I go as well?
Yeah.
So I just try and like bring that mentality back home.
I think that's a good point.
Mhm.
Like, you could be a tourist in your own city.
Yeah.
And I think
Staycation.
a staycation
Mhm.
and exploring whatever your city, the city next to you,
Mhm.
or kind of wherever you feel the need to go is the important piece because 9 times out of 10 you'll get something new from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing. Like, that's what you take away from.
Thank you for listening to our latest episode. Please be sure to check out jaysconversations.com for more discussion questions, the reading materials, and of course to learn more about our phenomenal guest. And also, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to subscribe to our newsletter and give us a follow on Instagram at Jay's Conversations. I'll see you next time.
Conversations with Jay.